Do it to the cloud, though. Oh, there we go. Okay, welcome everybody to Free Sex. Woo! How much fun can we have? So we're here, I don't even know, there's like panelists and people who are here to ask questions, and I'm not even totally sure who all is a panelist. I mean, we all have lots of questions, right? So Sarah Grandinetti, say hi, Sarah.
Hi guys. Do you want me to list? I'm sure. I know who's here.
She's sure. So she's, because I have no brain, but let me actually redo that because her name is actually Sarah Sexy Talk Grandinetti. Yes. So I'm gonna properly introduce you.
Make sure you get that straight. So I will respond to your questions. You have to share my true full name. Okay. So today, who we've invited like to kind of be panelists. Whoever's making a ton of noise, please mute. Thank you. And also, what would it be like to just have a conversation here? That doesn't necessarily have to go to the panelists. So whatever you know, let's talk, let's share, let's chat. But today joining us by invitation, Cassie Summers, Amy Shine, our other Amy Shine, which is John Ashford, Kalpana, who else? Melanie. As with like our other, the other fun chat that Megan hosted, this will be a little bit different. We're going to get a little more hot, what is that? Sweaty on the collar, hot behind the ear. I don't know what that.
Hot and bothered.
Hot and bothered. So like nothing's off limits today, and you can flash yourself anytime like this. It's totally fine. Anyways, we would love to just have a conversation with you guys and like open up doors that are. I'm apologizing for my dogs now. Open up doors that might not be easily open, to have the conversations that you want to have, to get other people's perspectives, to clear whatever comes up, like all the fun stuff. And am I missing anybody did I not mention anybody that was coming on as a panelist today?
No, we have everyone.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So do you guys, those of you that are panelists, do you guys want to just introduce yourselves so that people kind of know where you're at in the country or the globe, not the country, the globe? And maybe you could share something like one of your greatest turn-ons. I don't know.
I love you, Sarah.
Whatever works. Or not. Did you see Cassie freeze? Did Cassie freeze when I said that? Kalpana, do you want to go first? You have to unmute though, babe.
Hey.
There you go. Yay!
My name is Kalpana. I live in Brussels. I'm right now in France facilitating a class, and I'm also a dancer and a choreographer. And I would say what turns me on is when people are willing to have fun with their body any way they want, and not any more desire to hide it, but are happy to share it.
Yummy. Thank you. Cassie, do you want to talk?
Hi. I'm Cassie from Canada. And biggest turn on, sorry, it's a little bit loud here. Biggest turn on? I guess it would be the sexualness in people is my biggest turn on. Like that's my biggest like draw and play and like I'm stealing too, sorry. And that space of no judgment with bodies is like deliciousness.
I love that. And I love you. Melanie, will you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Sexy Talk. So I'm Melanie Clampett and I live in Los Angeles, in the southern part of Los Angeles. And oh my gosh, what a great question. Well, if I get really specific, I was actually just telling someone recently, there's this really amazing space between like two people, like before you actually kiss. And that is when you're close to each other, or whether, you know, your hands are about to touch one another. There's this amazing little space right before it. And that just really turns me on.
That just turned me on. Damn, girl. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, like the electric, like the energy that's like pulsating. Okay. John Ashford, tell us where you're at, my friend.
I am Austin, and a turn on. Wow, there's so many, but the unspoken word, the energy that you pick up. Okay. It's that unspoken energy, that feeling, that vibe. It's a vibe that I pick up from people that's really turned on. It's both men and women. It's not just sex. I just saw an old man fishing here on the dock, and it was a turn on to me because his energy was so pure, so full of life. The energy, the sexualness of life, that sexiness of that. Ooh, shit, that's a fucking turn on for me.
I love that. Thank you. Heather, will you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Heather Nichols. I'm in Charleston right now as well, getting ready for the COP in a couple days. And all of the above. One of my biggest turn-ons is watching people come alive with creation, and actually like getting that they can create anything makes me so ridiculously happy and lit up and turned on. And I also have to say that whenever somebody like kisses my neck, like right here, like really, really, really gently, that's just amazing to me.
Awesome. I almost want to unmute people because I feel like we're alone when we're laughing, and I'm like, no one's getting it. Okay. Amy, where are you on my screen, my love?
Well,
okay.
I'm next to Heather on my screen.
Not on my screen.
All right. So my name's Amy Shine, and I'm in Florida. And okay, greatest turn on for me, everything everyone mentioned. And for me, my body gets really, really turned on in the heat. I love the sunshine and nature, being by the ocean, being outside, being out in like the green by the trees. And one other thing is massage. Anyone who can touch me very, very nicely and knows how to actually work with my body is like a major turn on for me.
Thank you.
What's yours, Sarah?
Oh, I was going to get out of that.
No, you weren't.
Okay, so I'm Sarah Sexy Talk Grandinetti, and I'm in LA, and so all of the above, like we already did, and one, energetically, like I am totally turned on by confidence. I don't care what body you're in. I don't care any of that, but you hold yourself with confidence, and like that's a huge turn on for me. And then if we're going down the like kissing of the neck and massage route, there's something about like a grip, and I won't say like where and how, but I'll just say a grip. Okay, moving along.
Can I add one more thing? Can I add one more thing?
Yes, please, John, go ahead.
Yes. Also, the touch is good, but also it's that look. You know, it's that look that somebody can give you. That's like it goes to that confidence, but it's so sexy. That look, like if somebody look at you across the room, you're like, ooh, fuck, that was it. That is the energy of that confidence that you're talking about, Sarah. I like that. That's like, ooh, damn.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Okay, so where do we want to go next? Does anybody have something they want to share or have up in their world around just seeing free sex as a graphic on their computer? Anything, I don't know, like question wise, what do you guys got?
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
I got up all in your brother's face because I told him he broke my yoni because I cleared how many points of view I had about orgasm, and then I couldn't.
And then you couldn't.
I fixed it though. I fixed it, but yeah, he just laughed. I'm like, I'm gonna get you a T-shirt that says yoni breaker. I'm like, because I was like mad at you when I found that coming, but I'm still doing nails. So you guys talking and listening, and I'm gonna keep working.
I love that you just said that out loud while you're doing nails. Thank you for the gift that is. One thing so right now we're getting ready to do, for those of you, I don't know, who are going to the CF training in Costa Rica for Access Consciousness. And Cassie and I were looking through some of the reference materials, and there's so much juice in there about relationship, that like hasn't been like readily talked about recently. And we were just like our eyes were like glued reading through that. And one of the cool things that, Cassie, I'm going to ask you, this is coming to you, girl. One of the things that you brought to me that you found was like, that question of, are you willing to have the intensity of a humanoid relationship? And I'm going to ask you to talk a little about that, because what I got from it was like, if we are literally living in 10-second increments, and nothing's ever solid, and you can choose relationship from that place, there, like the security that we usually deem as relationship isn't really there, because you're choosing in 10-second increments. So you can't really go, well, they said I do, so they're going to be this way forever. You actually have to create your relationship every day. And then it's almost like that security gets taken away. So it's like intense all the time. And I want to ask Cassie like what she knows about that and share with our fantastic friends.
Okay. Yeah, it was actually really exciting, because it was, I don't do relationship like this reality. Like I don't have a partner. I don't live with anyone. I don't have just one person that I copulate with. So I haven't really been drawn to any sexual relationship classes. I'm like, that's for like those people that like to do that thing that I don't like to do. And when I read that, I was like, okay, I would do that. Like that would be fun. I would be into that, because that there is that space of like, you know, like you once you reach that, this is for me when a relationship dies. It's when you reach that place of like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm very secure they're not going to leave me tomorrow. I'm good now. And then they have that, and then we stop creating the relationship and everything dies. And that's my dramatic point of view. So with this part in the reference material, it's like, and Gary and Dave talked about it, like waking up every morning and choosing whether or not to be with that person, but it was really the intensity of like every 10 seconds you're choosing. Like you cannot go on autopilot even an inch with someone that you have no stability with. So every moment is a space of creation. What do I want to create with this person? What do I want to create with this person? What do I want to create with this person? Do I want to create a fight? Do I want to create sex? Do I want to create, like, what is it? And that lit me up. I'm like, that is, I would choose that. I would like, that's on my list. That's on my ask list, because, and my, like in my world, it doesn't have to be with one person. And I get that's not true for everyone. So I don't know if I said everything you wanted me to say, Sarah, but that was like the excitement of that possibility in the world where because it was also speaking about like people, and it really hit me. It's like, you'd rather not choose relationship because that's more comfortable. Like I reached a space where I finally got out of relationship, and it's more comfortable for me to play and then go away and then play and then go away and then play and go away. But that intensity of being with someone and choosing someone and like willing to let someone contribute to me that dynamically with such intimacy and vulnerability was like, wow. I think I babble a lot, so.
No, not at all. We're just all like hanging on, like listening to everything. No, absolutely. And I got that there's also the space that those of us who are in relationship like could then choose that type of creation every day too. and keep the intensity, so you don't go into the like the monotone gray scale life of relationship.
I'd love to get into that one.
Yeah.
I am married 8 years in like 2 weeks. And this space that Cassie speaks about is really the space I am with my husband. In the beginning, when somebody used to say I'm married, I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Or if somebody's like, I'm going to live together with somebody, I'd be like, oh, really? Are you sure? And when I met my partner, I realized that he's so much space and we weren't even doing access yet. And when I look back, I realized we are constantly choosing each other, and we don't see each other much. We see each other for like 2 days, then we don't see each other for 3 weeks, and then we see each other for 1 week, and then we don't see each other for 5 weeks. But therefore, we have to be so much more energetically connected and be so willing to be present and choose and choose and choose. And really funny what you say about choosing, because I was in Maestro in Rome, and I came home for like few hours, and he had left me a card saying, baby, if I would have to choose today, I would choose you, like that. And that was the card he left for me. And I was like, oh my God. And it is really choosing every time, because I love what you said, Cassie. I know it. Like, you're on the phone and the only connection we have is on the phone. It cannot be. It has to be energy, and it is choice. Like, am I going to fight because you didn't call me back, or am I going to choose something else? Am I going to ask a question, or am I going to look for possibilities? And you know, like anything in life, for sure, it's like there are moments you're like, it's really crunchy. And then asking the question like, hey, what is possible here? What gift is here has allowed my relationship to grow like to a phenomenal level every single time when it got crunchy. So now I'm just like, okay, bring it on, babe. Let's have another 8 years or maybe 2. Like, we'll see. And this is what we told to each other. Like, we'll stay, we'll be here, and we'll keep asking questions. And as soon as it's not fun, we'll look at it again. And this is, I think, the joy of living and having relationship, which is totally undefined, which goes really beyond what this reality says relationship or marriage should look like.
And can I bring sex into it a little bit too? Because I realize that that's how I copulate is in 10 seconds. Like, I can play with the same person a lot, and I've never gone into this is what I know they like, because I would just be bored, like, to tears. Like, so I'm like literally in every 10 seconds, like, okay, so like, oh my God, what would be fun to do with this body right now? Okay, what would be fun to do with this body right now? Oh my God, what? And then the copulation can be that much more intense and that much more present. And everything you just said is such a beautiful invitation to possibility, because I can't imagine, because I've never experienced what it would be like to be with someone for 8 years and do copulation in 10-second increments. That would be phenomenal. Okay, I'm done.
You get really creative.
Are you saying you can actually follow energy while copulating, Cassie?
No.
And that you don't turn that off when you are putting bodies together? I wonder if there's a conversation there.
Well, this is really funny, because I was just about to, what I was just going to ask our panelists was that it's similar to what you're just talking about. I was reading in Salon de Femme. Gary actually wrote this book, and this lady asked a question in the book, and what she was asking about was how, you know, she's married to this guy and she goes to bed and he's in the mood for sex and she's not. And she said, you know, I'm not in the mood and he is, and he always wants it when I don't want it. And Gary spoke about how, like, sex is actually a choice. You're never going, I'm not in the mood is not a question. He was saying, you know, you ask questions like, will it be fun now? And you can ask a question as well to change your energy. Like, you don't have to be in the mood. So I actually started to use the questions in my own relationship, and it creates such a change when it comes to sex. If you can just like use the tools, they're so quickly to use. Like, you can pot and pock yourself, clear your decisions, clear your judgments, and ask your body, you know, body, you want this now? You know, how turned on can we be? So I'm just wondering what kind of tools you use for when you're like, to turn your body on even more. Like, do you use the questions like that, or do you use them in a different way?
Melanie, you want to take that
Melanie?
Melanie.
Oh my goodness. I was like, oh, I wonder who's going to give me some good tips about this. You know, it's going to sound kind of strange, but it's actually a communion with your earth that will create a totally different space, you know, for the possibility of sex, even if, you know, my point of view is sort of getting in the way in the moment. So if I tap into the ocean, or if I tap into the center of the earth and I allow, you know, sort of, you know, my heartbeat and the thrum of the energy of the planet to get, you know, kind of, you know, rhythmic together, and then I connect myself, you know, energetically with the person that I'm with, or sometimes it's even with myself. You know, there's something that is such an incredible contribution from the molecules of everything around. When you're willing to receive, you know, more from everything around you on the planet, I've noticed it's a lot more fun with, you know, the body in front of me.
I'd love to add to that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a little bit naughtier than the earth. But I was talking to, not to downplay the earth, Melanie, because what I'm saying is that, this might make people blush a little bit more is all I'm saying. But I was talking to a friend the other day. I've been in relationship for ever. Like 19 years. And I was talking to a friend the other day about like being like sex in relationship that is almost going on 20 years and what that looks like. And she was like, well, all I know is that when I have sex, she's like, I'm never just having sex with one person. And I was like, you get it, girl. Like, how many are you having sex with at a time? That's hot. And then she's like, no. She goes, and then she calmed me down, and then I listened. She's like, I'm constantly inviting like whose ever energy will contribute into the bedroom with us. She's like, now I'm not crying out like other people's names. She goes, but like to be able to invite energy like the earth, and also if there is somebody else that you're not choosing to copulate with, yet they have an energy that would contribute, like could you invite them in? Could you invite what they know in when you're playing with another body? Could you invite that? And so I will say that I've tried that, and I will say that it works. And
It does.
It's so yummy. And I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me this? Like 10 years ago would have been awesome. But it was so cool. And in that conversation, I literally turned to her, because she also is in Access, and I was like, I can't believe that there's anybody who like wouldn't want to go to this sex and relationship class, because these are the gems and it's not just about like how to have copulation or how to like get in the best relationship or how not to have a relationship, like all the points of view that people have around, oh, I don't need a sex and relationship class, I don't want to look at that. I'm like, damn, like how many more places can it actually open up to what's possible with what I have now? Like it's not leading me to choose or not choose whatever I don't want to not choose, but like it just, I'm like, damn, like, and who wouldn't want to spend, this is going to sound so weird coming from a sister, but 4 days talking about sex and relationship with Gary and Dane? Like, I'm even down to do that. So anyways.
Well, it's also like all the things that like we should have known when we were like 16 that we never did, you know, or like I didn't in a way. The tools, like if you'd given me these years ago, like, oh my God, I could have made so many different choices and had so much more fun, and I get to have it now. But like those tools, like inviting in different energies, asking different questions, I would never have known this had I not found Access, you know, and I would be one of those girls that'd be like, I'm not in the mood, you know, whereas now I get to use the tools and actually have totally different reality with sex and relationship.
Absolutely.
So Heather.
Yes.
What's your favorite tool to use when it comes to sex?
Asking questions. That's really popping. Just like asking a lot of questions while I'm copulating. You know, how does it get better than this is a really great question to ask in bed.
I never thought of that one.
On you know, we don't have to get complex here. It works really well. But even just like, what can we create, and what would it take for this to be more phenomenal than it's ever been before? And like things like that, just inviting those possibilities and inviting awareness, and what is this body asking for, and what contribution can I be to this body, and can our bodies be to each other, like all those types of questions that just, then, you know, you just get to have a lot more awareness. And of course it helps to, you know, get out of judgment as much as possible. Like judgment keeps us from having the awareness of what else is possible. If we've got a lot of judgment around bodies or around copulation. So pock and potting and running bars, and, you know, not while you're having sex, running bars. That could
Bars before sex.
that, but right, yeah. But just, you know, it was so cool at the maestro class. Dane was talking about this class, the sex and relationship class, and just how I got how like all encompassing this topic really is. Like, I was like, wow, the topic of sex includes so many things. And so many different, like, there's so many different places to explore beyond just what you would think of with sex and relationship. And even with relationship, like, I just got this whole other awareness of how much I do relationship with this reality and with other people. And it was like, wow, like what I just started to perceive what is available for my whole life and everything that I'm creating with the conversation of sex and relationship, like how that can open up everything. And today it's been blowing my world open. It's been really cool just to play with that and go, wow, what could I be asking for from this class? So.
And Heather, I also know, a little birdie told me that you have you have a lot of information about orgasm. And we won't get into it too much today, but I just wanted to say that, like, so before I did Access, I actually didn't orgasm during copulation that easily at all. And through Access, with the tools and with a lot of body work, really a lot of body processing and facilitation, I've actually changed it. And now I'm actually able to orgasm a lot easier and from a lot more expansion rather than contraction. And I actually did get a question from someone who can't be on the call today, and it was about orgasm. And she actually is having some issues orgasming during intercourse. And I'm just wondering, what do you know about, like, what the change is possible for people in their bodies with orgasm when they start doing a lot of this work, or start, like, choosing body classes or things like that? Have you noticed yourself things change for clients, or what do you know?
One of the biggest things is, well, so anything that you have decided that orgasm is and isn't, we destroy and uncreate that.
Yes. Yeah, baby.
I mean, orgasmic energy is something that you can have all the time, and it doesn't have to involve another body or masturbation or whatever. But even if you're talking about orgasm during copulation, like for women, orgasms occur with different parts of the body. And so it's not just a clitoral thing or a vaginal thing, or like people have cervical orgasms. You can have full body orgasms that have nothing to do with your genitals. There's so many different ways that we can have orgasms, and they show up in different ways. And so I think a lot of it too is just, we have these projections and expectations of what having an orgasm is.
Yes.
And when you're reading for that, a lot of that is like the orgasm from contraction, which is a depletion of your energy, rather than an orgasm that is expansive, that is a contribution to your whole body, to the other person's body, to everything that you're doing and being and creating. So there's a tiny little
yeah, but great, amazing information.
Yeah.
So I got a question. I mean, I'm amazed by hearing sisters talk, but I'm sitting here as a male and I'm thinking about my male friends, males in general.
Yes.
And I'm kind of saddened because they don't have this. I mean, I'm a man of 53 years. I'll be 54 tomorrow. I sit around with they talk about sex, but they don't talk about the energy around it. There's not, and I think they miss the point of it because, I mean, and now I know why so many relationships aren't going well, because there's no language for men because when, I think, if you told a man that he was gonna have an orgasm outside of his penis, he would look at you like, what are you talking about? I mean, just the conversations I've had, And so I'm sitting here, it's almost like it has to be a class taught for males so they can be more expansive with orgasm, because they only come with, because their mom won't talk to them with it, your dad definitely doesn't talk to you about it. So where do they get it? Because the other things I'm sitting here, because I was sitting back, I was like, well, turn-ons. Well, turn-on for me is porn, but it's so dead. There's no energy to that. But that's where men get their stuff.
Well, John,
you see what I'm saying? Males don't get. I mean, because yes.
Sorry, I think my internet's a little wonky. There might be a delay. I was just gonna say, share.
I'm gonna.
Like, this will be available. We'll put it on YouTube. It'll be available. So share this conversation, and there's also, I know you are aware of, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware of the Return of the Gentleman conversations. There's a Return of the Gentleman YouTube channel where Dane is doing a lot of different really cool conversations with men, for men, about men, like for the world, but some really amazing stuff about really, truly what it is to be a gentleman and show up in a way that actually does include like an honoring of yourself and your body and other people and their bodies. And so there's resources available for people that are interested in having a different conversation. And it is like, it's so in depth, like this topic of sex and relationship, 4 days with Gary and Dane on this, I'm like, there's a lot that we're going to get to, I know, just based on, what questions we ask. So what questions can we be asking? But there's a lot, it's a big conversation, and it has to start with your questions. I think my internet is frozen. Maybe.
So yeah, no, your internet's good, Heather. No, I think it's up to us to start asking the questions and make the conversations. Look, this information isn't out there in the world, we're the ones having it. We have access to this information now, and it's up to us to like keep having these conversations, I guess, and putting it out there. And I'm excited. I have a lot of questions.
We wanted to do this is we actually looked at, like, nobody's talking about sex.
Nobody.
Like, even with this sex and relationship class, it was like, there's a lot of relationship conversations happening about this class. And we were like, well, okay, let's start talking about sex.
And even now, as we're talking about it, it's like, can I talk about orgasm on this call? Can I mention it? Like, my head's spinning out, it's like even Melanie talked the other day on Facebook. She got unfriended from like 13 people because she's doing a Being You with sex class, like just the word sex is enough to send people like through the roof, So it's like, we're controversial. We're willing to actually go where people aren't willing to go. So whoever wants to come, let's go there. Like, let's have these conversations, and
anyone who wants to come.
Yeah, just come. And I have just someone in my life who comes to me sometimes for support, and she's much younger. She's 21. And like, I would love, like, this information is available for her now. I'm able to pass this information on to her because, there's things that same way I didn't know when I was 21 about, orgasm and your body being turned on and different things. And she has access to that stuff now. So we get to like share this information, like what a gift that is,
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it, Sarah.
To put out to all of you, anybody who's on panel or not that would love to share. So when you invite sexualness into your life and you're actually being it, how many people are afraid to just walk down the street and just like have random orgasms because the wind blew by them? Anybody? You guys are all laughing, but I can't hear your voices.
Sounds cool to me.
Did you say I'm afraid to walk down the street?
Yeah, I'm like, is there a place where like you can't drive anymore because it's, a hazard, Daniel?
Yeah, well, last night I was telling you I messaged you, but there was this guy who came sat next to me while I was on the bench, and the first thing he asked me was, "Are you gay?" And I was like,
Ah,
"Thanks for
want me
asking
to
that."
open it?
But yeah, it was so funny. And it's like also I was at a coffee shop. It's like the more that I'm starting to be a sexual energy in the world, like the more irresistible I become, and it does become a little bit scary because sometimes I don't know what kind of conversation to have with people who are just interested in me just from my energy.
Yeah, and didn't you say though that they told you to like go amp it up with the gay guys?
Yeah, they asked me if I was, or they asked me what I did for a living. I said I'm a massage therapist, and he's like, "Are you gay?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, you got to start acting like it. Like, get your abs on. Like go do start working on your abs, and then just walk around shirtless like down by the water, and like you'll get some clients, no problem." And he's like, "Then once you got money, you can buy a house and a nice car, and then you can get girls easy, no problem." So that's the sex and relationship class you get in this reality if you go sit down by a bench downtown Seattle.
I adore you. That is awesome. And it's actually kind of clever. It's actually kind of clever. I'm just saying, like, work it any way you got it, right? Like, and that's another place of receiving. Like, how often do we shut off receiving from bodies that aren't the bodies that we usually copulate with? So if you're a man who plays with men, like, are you shutting off receiving from women? If you're a woman who plays with men, do you shut off receiving from other women? Like, what does that look like? Anybody want to take that question or share? Anybody? Nobody?
I don't mind to say something about that. Actually, it also brings me to my husband and I. We actually kind of have it's not a deal and deliver, but it's kind of like an awareness and a acknowledging. We are both very public people. He's extremely public. He's on TV. He's like with a lot of people. Like we kind of even told each other, like, hey, we're not going to turn off our sexualness just because we're in a relationship. Like, actually spoke about this and allow ourselves to be vulnerable with everybody and anybody, and not go into immediately like assume if you're vulnerable and if you're allowing sexualness, that means you must do something, but actually receive that energy all the time in different moments. So it's also really a question for me that I wonder, like, how vulnerable are we allowing ourselves to be with this energy on a daily basis? Does it have to only be when you want to get some, or can you actually do that all the time and get that all the time? And sometimes that might mean that you take off your clothes, and sometimes not. Well, just something to put out.
That's incredible. And the vulnerability that is in the receiving from anybody and everybody, with no barriers up, is actually like that joy of orgasmic living, right? It's just,
yeah, totally. And it's funny because
willing to be it all the time.
Yeah, and I remember because it's also so interesting what we think, what the category. Somebody didn't know I was married, and when they heard I was married, they were like, "You're married, but you're so," and I was like, "What?" And then she was like, like, and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Free," and I'm like, "Wow." Like, it like this reality says if you're in a relationship, you cannot be free. You cannot have that sexualness anymore. How sad is that? And what can we be to change that and inspire other people to not make it so dry?
Absolutely. And when they find out you're married, how often do people turn off?
Yeah, and I kind of don't allow that. I'm just like, really? You're gonna turn it off? Well, let's see how you turn it off now. So I love to play with that. I'm like, okay, you can turn it off.
I can testify of that. Kaplan's been amazing with her husband, even when he's in class, and just allow every energy to be there for both of them.
It's really funny.
Here's Leeson, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds like Leeson. Where'd she go on my screen?
I only have a picture. I'm out walking my dog. So you see me and my dog.
That's so awesome. And then also, like, where do you allow yourself then to get more turned on by seeing.
Yeah, and I
people
would love to
volunteer make
share.
fun.
One of the first classes I did with my husband, with Gary, Leeson was playing with him. And turned out he was getting his bars run, and she was like, now I can touch you because you're stuck on the table. And I was on the other side of the room totally going like, yeah, don't stop, go for it. It's like fun to see other people enjoy, the other person's body and their energy.
Oh, he's so cute. Yeah.
It
was very appropriate touching though, but it was touching his body. He has a very delicious body. Both of them have. So it's really, really cool. It's really an inspiration to see where there's no wrongness and also not that it has to lead to something. You can enjoy it for the moment just to be and play with whatever is there. And it's so cool because both of them have very few points of view. This is years ago. Now I don't think they have any left, or hardly any at least. But it was just like there was fun energies and just like, hey, it was just beautiful. I was like, because there's often a lot of judgments coming up when you even admire a body. If you admire a body from a man that is married, like, oh God, that means that I want to have him in bed. No, it doesn't, but it's where everybody goes also around you. So that was really interesting just to see, and that there was no reaction in Kalpama, and I trust her and I think she trusts me as well. And there is just this space where you can be with people, where also this living and nurturing energy is there. And I was like, that's one of the things I really like, because it's about a lot of the things about energies where there is somebody in front of you just gifting you something for the moment, and it's just so beautiful to be able to receive that without making yourself wrong or they make themselves wrong. So I'm so grateful for that, because definitely was not like that before I started doing Access and using the tools. And I'm grateful. I was in the last sex and relationship class online, and it was such a gift, because there were so many points of views I still had that were making my life really suck in many ways, where I wasn't allowing myself to receive. So I'm really, really grateful for that Dane and Gary are choosing to have one more class and really willing to go there with us, because it's freaking amazing what is possible for us.
Okay, I haven't been in a sex and relationship class. For those of you who have, like, how would you describe like the vulnerability that shows up? Because I know so any class we go to, like Dane will even say now, that like, can you get your questions out like day 1 and 2, because by day 3, like there's 75 people at the mic, because they finally like have lowered their barriers and are willing to ask a question and are getting vulnerable. And I'm looking at this class and I'm like, I'm curious, like what vulnerability shows up around this topic that would be so yummy to receive from, and what conversations, like without maybe naming names, those of you who have been in the class, like do you have any specifics that you can share with the rest of us who haven't done it that might like spark that, like really they're willing to talk about that, or that's really, I know there's no topic off limits, but like, I don't know, I'm looking for like a Yelp review of some sort. So anybody has, 4-star Yelp review, nothing less. No.
I can definitely talk a lot about it. We watch it many times. One of the things I can say, it started from day 1, super vulnerable, both from Dane and Gary. And I know Dane always uses himself, but there was such a vulnerability where there was an open space to say anything. And he said a lot of things that he usually doesn't say. And for me personally, what I got a lot about it is also this, where how we are trained to be with other people, like trained to get turned on by certain looks, energies, things that are from our parents, or where we're not allowing to receive, that could change your world. Like if you had sex with this person, would that change your world? Like, and he would pinpoint energies or people in the room or other people that they knew, and where it came up like, no, not that person. And they're like, but what if you did? What if that changed your world? And going there. And then also, of course, women, we tend to have, if I'm allowed to generalize, a tendency to look for a longer relationship, and where we've made it wrong and where we've made it right, and really looking at that, what do you truly desire? Because some people have a point of view, I want this, or I want that, or I don't want that. And it was just so cool to really get rid of any point of view and really look, what would you like to create? what would be something that you'd like to have in your life, and where are you stuck with an ideal that it should be this or that, and what would really work for you. And things like that were really so kind to look at with everybody, and nobody was judging anybody, and people knew each other very well in the class. And I was amazed by that space, and I'm really, really grateful as well.
That's incredible, because if you think about Dane and Gary and their ability to get vulnerable, Dane's willing to talk about most anything sexy, but I get that there's even like another space, because like I don't think there's things off topic with him, but when there's an actual like space built around his ability to talk about anything, sounds very intriguing even for his sister. But I might have earmuffs like
should we bring earplugs once in a while?
yeah. I'll grab a pillow and do this. Pillows on faces. No, just kidding. Anyways, so we're going to be wrapping up, you guys. Some of these conversations can possibly even be continued. I'll talk with my cohorts here and see what we can create. And what also drives the bus is a lot of the time are your questions. Like, even if they're anonymous, we would love to have your questions, because it just pops like a conversation. So
we did get one question in the chat, which I know we're kind of like running out of time, but maybe this is a conversation for another day.
Hope's been waiting for a while, just saying.
Oh, okay. So there's one question which I get may just be a whole conversation on its own. Can you talk more about orgasms and the different kind, and what would it take to create them?
I have a quick answer for that.
Go, Heather.
Ask.
There we go.
Ask your body if it knows what is fun for it. Like, what else is possible? Just ask. Yes. Invite more of that into your world. Yeah.
Yeah. And hope. Or faith.
It's so you guys were talking about porn star names earlier, and my Facebook name comes from someone telling me my stripper name would be Chastity Moonrise. So that's where the Hope Moonrise comes from. Sarah, when you asked the question about if there were places we don't go anymore because we're afraid that we're walking down the street, we're going to orgasm. I heard you say, are there places you don't go because people walk past you and they're afraid they're going to orgasm?
Ooh. Ooh. All right.
That was just like which then also, so I'm really grateful for Access, is that I used to really like not use my sexualness to my advantage, and especially working as an actor, like it's something that I've unleashed a lot more in my willingness to like be sexy when I go into an audition, or like be that energy. But I like that made me, I'm like, oh gosh, where am I still keeping it small to not make people orgasm when they walk past me? So that, and Cassie, I know you guys are out of time, but I want to talk to you, because I'm at a similar place with relationships where I'm like, I used to be like, it was the only thing I wanted in the world, and now we should chat. I had a question very earlier on, but I would love to chat with you.
I love that. I love that for so many reasons. And what would it be like if we did have a world where people could just like brush by each other and have a full body orgasm? I'm just saying, like, what gift would that be? There'd be a lot happier people, right? Agreed?
Yes.
But you have to be willing to be that sexualness all the time, and be willing to turn on anybody, including
and be willing to turn yourself on.
Hey, that's what I just said. And yourself.
Baby. That's where it starts.
One quick question with that. I have noticed sometimes I go into auditions now and I'm almost worried that I'm going to intimidate the men in the room with my sexualness, and that I'm maybe not booking, because like, is that just a crazy thought, or is that like a space to ask questions around, or?
Don't have any fun with it.
Well, I'll like walk in the room and I'll start pulling sexual energy, or like hitting the 5 points. Such like, but what?
Bad chastity.
Well, definitely don't ask a question about what energy flows you could be, or what ESC you could be to create the connection that would get you the job.
Ooh, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we could also see what our
It's John. John's the one who has to go, right, John? Because someone's commenting on the comments as Amy Shine, but it's not me. The other Amy Shine.
That's me.
It's John. Okay,
it's thundering here. I gotta go.
thanks, John. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, I love you guys. I would love to join
We
again.
love you
We're just gonna
too.
get out this fine. Thanks a lot.
John,
Bye,
it's
John.
raining in Charleston. My hair. What's gonna happen?
What's that?
Don't even.
Oh, you're gonna be fucked up, sister. It's
gonna be
humid. It's
raining.
thundering and lightning right now.
It's been raining.
Yes.
It's gonna be raining.
No!
Yeah. Bring your
Yes.
ponytail holders.
Good stuff. You gonna need.
That's okay. I'm gonna be sexy no matter what. So
Bye, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Bye, John.
love you, John.
Bye. Love you guys. Bye.
Cool.
Cool. So as we're looking at like wrapping, and I do get that we have to have another conversation and talk to these beauties about what we can create. And as we're doing that, what I want to leave you all with is a huge invitation to the Sex and Relationship class here in Redondo Beach, September 2nd through the 5th. It's in a few weeks. It's on the beach. It's beautiful. Lots of sexy bodies on the beach. Lots of sexy bodies in the class. Lots of sexy bodies in the hotel bar. You know how we do. Anyways, so it's September 2nd through the 5th. I'm really excited about it. You're all invited. The prereq is foundation. So if for any reason you haven't had one of those yet, we're going to need you to get one of those, and I will help you find one myself if you need it.
And it's going to be live streamed as well. So you can, if you want to join the class naked from your bed, you can do that.
Can you join live naked?
I think that would make Gary and Dave very happy.
Right?
Yes.
Put it under your clothes anytime.
I vote yes. So if you have any questions about that class at all, Hope, what can you unmute and
Oh yeah,
Foundation.
What did you say?
Foundation. Hope.
Oh, cool.
Foundation class.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't read. My bad. Yeah, so we'll get back with you for another free sex chat. And it'll be part 2 as we get sexier and sexier. And you're all invited to the class. I will help you find a foundation. That's what I was wrapping up with. And you're welcome to message myself, Heather, or Amy, as we are the hosts for that class. Anything else, girls?
And just thanks to Melanie and Kalpana and John and Cassie for coming on as our panelists. Did I miss anyone? And thanks for everyone else for joining us here.
Yeah,
I'm so cool to see so many squares.
I'm such an asshole. I'm sorry. I also would like to thank my friends for joining. You guys are all amazing. And those of you who added in, and those of you who just presented energy and asked questions and were beautiful and turned me on for all this time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.